It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Wanna be held tight? Well, now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
Quarterback to Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX. This is the Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody crabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! You're
listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. It's Monday, Manic Monday, and I am so excited to be back. I've been off for a while doing the honey-do list, and I just feel like Guillermo, like one of those AM DJs back in the 60s. This is Alan Autry. Bring it on and get it on from 12 to 1 p.m. Now, here's the latest from the doors. There's so much has happened, but I had to get my to-do list.
Yeah.
You know that well.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was a long one.
Well, you should have employed some help.
Well, no, not when these need. These had to be done by yours truly.
Oh, well, then.
And herein lies the case against procrastination. That to-do list doesn't suddenly go away if you put it off. It just gets longer and longer and longer. My wife is not going to let me forget what I was supposed to do. Get the door hung up on the hinge. Make sure you go and get pay through Z. But anyway, had to get caught up on that and some business. I'm writing a couple of screenplays. Prayers are appreciated. We have our 2 films out called Forgiven and Victory by Submission. Still waiting on those news from Tulsa King.
Well,
don't know if I'm going to get more episodes or get cut from the squad.
I heard you were great.
Like the kicker from Dallas.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Bless his
poor
heart.
guy.
I laugh. I feel bad. No, having been cut, but Mike Marr, this is it. If that's his name,
Mar. Yeah.
There is life after football. That's one reason, and a good life.
Yeah.
You think that's all? Gosh, 4 straight extra points.
How do you miss it? You just nerves?
Well, it gets up in your head. Say, how does a golfer miss a 4-foot putt? But they start thinking about it too much. When you think about stuff, you get paralysis of analysis. And you start. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to admit it that I folded like a dollar store broom. He's a Green Bay Packer quarterback in big games. Call a play in the huddle, get up there. 60,000 people here. I got to snap the ball. It's going to come into my hands. I've got to complete this pass. Not just my job, but the coaches' jobs, the fans, all of their hopes and dreams depend on me completing this pass. And you're either up to that or you're not. So anyway, I just think it was up in his head. Obviously up. You don't miss it. But he came back, got 2 field goals, not enough to beat the Niners.
Yeah.
Niners. I want a little bet on that.
Did you?
Yeah. DraftKings for my son.
There you go.
I got to own up. I got to confess. What, did you bet?
No, I don't.
Do you bet at all?
No.
How's that looked upon in the Adventist faith?
Very bad.
Yeah.
I love there with drinking coffee.
It is in the Baptist faith. I'm non-denomination, but I lean towards the Baptist Assembly of God. A lot of crossover there between the Protestant faiths there. They don't look
we're not doing too good. We drink coffee.
But they casted lots.
They did. That's what I said, right?
Did you didn't fly when you wanted to go to Table Mountain? That's what you told the preacher.
Jesus drank.
What's he called in the Adventist faith? Is it a preacher or
a pastor?
A pastor.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a bad Adventist, is what I call myself.
No.
I'm a bad Adventist.
I have all respect. My stepfather was an Adventist.
Really?
You guys live well. You eat well.
We eat well.
You own radio stations.
We talk well.
You talk well. On the right side of the issues. Speaking of, let's get on to the hearts. We got so much to talk about some time. But first, got to send our condolences out, Guillermo, to those in Monterey Park.
Oh, yeah.
Another mass shooting. My gosh. This one really hit me. Like affirmation that the world truly has gone completely. Anytime you have a mass shooting like this, whether it's a young kid who's lost hope, which we see a lot, with the pressures, some young guy who has a PhD just goes completely crazy and kills 4 students in Idaho. I mean, some egregious stuff. But then you look at this, what happened down in Monterey. The guy who perpetrated the crime, 72 freaking years old. I mean, that's 2 years older than me. I don't think I've ever heard in my lifetime some guy over 70 who let it get to him to the point where you would remotely do anything like this. I don't know what point I make, probably other than I just shook my head going, is there any demographic, any age group, any individual immune from this kind of behavior in today's world?
Yeah, I think
did that strike you as age 72?
It was a kind of I raised my eyebrow.
Yeah.
I'm as bad as this sounds. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often with with older people because you got
explain that because I don't get it at all.
Well, because we have a lot of vets that are homeless. You have a lot of people that have PTSD. I mean, you have a lot of great the great generation that has a lot of problems. But then this also speaks to the fact that this generation wasn't the one that would go and go crazy.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be funny on this. This is a horrible tragedy. But honestly, I think about this. You're sitting there, this guy, 72 years old, and he's going to go do this. And he's got to go, okay, I got to get up out of my chair. I got to lift this gun. I got to drive down there. I got to go do that. Not really worth it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch a little more TV, watch some more Real McCoy's reruns. And you just don't do that. I don't know. I guess I'm on the wrong track here. I was just so sad on so many levels for these people that get, their lives just ended, family, and us senior citizens now. And maybe it's like you said, a good wake up call for me. Going, hey, like you said, you're surprised that it doesn't happen more often.
Yeah, evil's evil.
And you make a good point with the Vietnam vets. Yeah,
evil's evil. You can't legislate evil.
No
we have the strictest gun laws.
And there's no expiration date on evil.
There's bingo.
So when you get older, if you don't get that out of your heart, you're susceptible.
Bingo.
To this kind of stuff.
But do you change your patterns? Like when you're in your big crowds, when you're at the movie theater, do you know where the exits are? Because I'm
an idiot.
Oh, all right.
No, I have no regard. I've walked into neighborhoods. When I was mayor, we really cracked down on gangs.
Yeah.
Sent a lot of people to prison, and I went down. I had no police protection except for 8 months. I was under police protection when I got my family and I got threatened. They deemed it credible, but they found Tom Boyajian and were able to put him away. No, it wasn't Tom. I'm just kidding. They never found the guy. I love Tom Boyajian. Please don't take that clip and hang me with it. Just kidding. But I would just go places, and you can't do that. Every mayor should have some protection. I don't know if you need like 15 or 20 like the L.A. mayor, Chicago mayor, and New York mayor. Veritable arsenal, a whole military division carrying you around. But you are a target.
Yeah, true.
And the thing is that violence that used to be reserved, Guillermo, and to big cities, it's happening everywhere. Small towns are not immune from this insane violence. And it's, as you point out on this show, it's not the gun. You got to have a long, hard, continual look at mental health. What is causing this sort of thing? Because the more unstable people are violent, you can't take away the guns from law-abiding people that are going to. That's the only line of defense to defend themselves. That doesn't make any sense. Well, the people are becoming more violent, more crazy. They're going to get the guns, but we're going to take your guns away, you law-abiding citizens. Right in the midst of defund the police and the police pulling back. And truly, the first responder in violent crime, don't you think, Guillermo, is you?
Yeah. It is. And that's why I asked, I think now more than ever, you're starting to prepare yourself. I mean, I don't carry. I'm not, I don't have a lot.
I don't either. Probably shouldn't
be announcing that. Yeah, but
totally defenseless.
But we do have people that
told you I was an idiot.
we do have a lot of people that come in the studio that do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would feel more comfortable if they were around, if something were to happen. But it's really unfortunate that we no longer can rely on law enforcement across the nation to be that, that protectant, because we got to protect ourselves now. We're in a different time.
But somebody accosts you, tries to break into your home, or you're out on the street. They come at you with a gun. You can't call the cop and wait for them to get there. You have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
I think I'm very stupid for not having a gun.
I think you should carry something.
Yeah. My age, so I'm going to be with my black belt in karate.
So I don't carry.
I get up one spinning back kick, and my back would go out, and I'd beat the crap out of me. I have to have the equalizer.
I'm going to get
I should have a 357.
No, I'm going to get you. It's a non-lethal. Or no, when you call a gun shop and you ask them for their non-lethal options, they say, "Oh, so first of all, it's less lethal." So there's a less lethal option where it's a 2-shot, and it's like it sprays out pellets.
You have one?
I do. It's about this big. It's
the
like
gun itself.
it's like a pepper spray, but it's like in the form of a gun, and you just
So in
2
other words-
shots. It'll take down a bear.
So in other words, it's just going to tick the assailant off and make him more mad.
You got about 20 seconds probably to run.
To get away, but you have them. No, I'm just kidding. That's a good thing to
2
have.
seconds to run.
Everybody should have that.
It's easy, you know what I mean? Especially females.
Yes.
It's less lethal, so it's not going to kill somebody.
Right.
But 2 shots, it'll take down a bear.
Really. Isn't that pepper spray a joke?
Yeah.
You give it to women. Here's pepper spray. Guy crazy enough to come at you, and it's just going to make them more mad.
Yeah.
Pepper spray them.
Yeah.
No, every woman I think should at least pack that.
Yeah. They make some
non-lethal.
They make some stuff that takes down bears again. I don't know why bears
it's a big animal.
Yeah, it's like it's an aerosol, and they say if you spray it on someone, like they're going to the hospital. I mean,
Really?
it's that irritant. But I mean, the thing is, like you're walking around with a big old can like this. I mean,
But
females
does it
aren't.
get you too? Some of that ancillary spray comes on and gets you. And
I don't know. I've never used
you
it.
have to be pretty accurate. Jeremy's shaking his head yes.
I go, well, you want to try it out, Jeremy?
You know what I think we should have though is a nice big dirty hairy 357 Magnum right underneath this desk here, just in case.
Yep. We'll put it right next to our Bible.
And then go in and learn right next to it. We cling to our Bibles and guns, man. Obama was right. What he says, these people cling to their Bibles and guns. That would be me.
So true.
I plead guilty to that.
So true.
Hey, okay, we're not going to take it. We're going to go right into this. Do you find it ironic, interesting, just more than a tad hypocritical that you go from a President Trump, that the left says never admits they're wrong, calls everyone names, is a divider of a country because of their behavior, and will never, ever, ever admit that he made a mistake. And he gets tossed out on his tush. He gets voted out. And you bring in the guy, old Uncle Joe, who's moving kind of slow, but he's going to be nicer to people. He's going to bring people together. And by golly, when he's wrong, he's going to admit it. He's going to say, you know what, young'uns out there, I made a mistake in Afghanistan the way we did it. And you know what? Old Uncle Joe's learned his lesson. So let this be a teachable moment for you. When you make a mistake and you throw sand in your friend's face in the sand pile, and he cries and is hurt, and then you go apologize. Because why? Because you made a mistake. You did something wrong. So just do what Uncle Joe says. Take accountability. This man has done so much wrong that he needs to just apologize a little bit for. Just something that could smell slightly like an apology for the things he's done. Inflation. You got the border that you're going to make Kamala Harris the czar. She never goes there. You have documents now that you skewered the former president. You just ridiculed him. You just ripped him up one side and down the other for being so foolish with the security of the American people by taking classified documents and keeping them under securely at Mar-a-Lago. Yet you take these documents and put them in your garage in a drawer next to your Corvette while Hunter Biden is living with you, who's selling secrets to the Chinese and Russia, yet comes up and says, when asked, do you have any regrets, Mr. President? He says, no, I got no regrets. Give me your thoughts on that, man.
Happily.
Let me unleash you on that.
Two things. The first one is, and I don't know about the Biden administration, but I know this was true of Trump because I read it in Jared Kushner's book. Trump subscribed to three rules. One of them was never apologize. And Trump never apologized. So I want to say with Biden, and this is probably why
you make a good point. He said that.
Yeah.
Don't try to get one from me.
Ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
So I find that, and this might be off, but I think there's a certain level of strength to that, but stupidity as well. Mm-hmm. So I think Biden.
There's some honesty there.
In what I just said, or
no, what he said. hey, I'm not going to apologize no matter what.
Yeah.
It's in my book. Don't go looking for one because I'm not going to
It's not going to happen.
Just to let you know who I am. What you don't like me or don't like me, this is who I am.
Exactly. And I think that's what Biden's doing too. And don't forget, I've never been president.
No, he said he was going to be square with American people, and when he was wrong, he was going to say he was going to be wrong. That's what he was saying, and his supporters were saying.
Well, here's the thing that law school teaches you: you can always not bend the truth, but come at it from another angle. So he probably
I got news for you. Most people in America didn't go to law school.
Very true, and most people
they don't like to be lied to.
They don't, and I think that's what Biden, Trump, and every president that lies to the American people. And I'm not saying Trump lied a lot, but
before we go any further, you look very good in that black turtleneck.
Well, I appreciate it.
It
was a cold morning.
Go ahead.
So the reality is that I wish they would be honest, because the American public, they don't like to be lied to, but they're also very forgiving. If Trump would have come out, and if he would have been the first one, he honestly should have came out and said, here's the deal. I took a couple documents that were my love letters between Kim and me, and that's all it was. A couple love letters. I can declassify. No big deal. If you're hurt, I'm sorry. But now we have this precedent where no one's going to apologize for this because no one feels that they did anything wrong. Here's the other thing. How many documents do you think Obama still has?
Oh, God, tons.
I think every president does it. I think every vice president does it.
But it became an issue when the Democratic Party
agreed,
and the media and corporate America all colluded to make it an issue to further drive Trump away from any chance of running for office again. Right on top of Liz Cheney's this bogus January 6th investigation. Not that things that happened in January 6th were good, folks. Don't confuse that. People are paying a price for that, as they should. But it was clear they're using it just like they used, and I've said all along, and I want your thoughts on this. These people are going to mess around, and they're strengthening Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing. Everybody, I think they're getting sick of being lied to. Because it can go one of two directions. American people can say, I'm sick of it. I better get some honesty and transparency, true honesty, transparency, or we're not going to elect you. We're just not going to put up with it anymore. Or we're going to become so jaded and just say, they all lie. I'm just going to pick the liar I like the most. I'm going to just pick the liar that will give me free checks, or I'm just going to pick the liar that's going to go after and try to reduce this debt ceiling thing, the spending, okay? But you have a situation here where Trump, one impeachment accusation, special counsel in there investigating, exonerated, no proof of collusion. A second impeachment on, I believe, with the Zelensky, the phone call.
Yeah.
The perfect phone call.
Quid pro quo.
The perfect phone call. Found nothing. Okay. They go after his family and find nothing prosecutable. Have you forgotten that the big thing they wanted to see is tax records?
Yeah.
Well, they released them. You notice you haven't seen anything
that's
in the press about
point.
it?
Yeah, that's so true.
Because you know what? They didn't find anything in there out of those billions of dollars. Why? Because Trump knows he's a target. He may be crass. He may be mean. But he's not an idiot.
Mm.
And especially when it comes to money and CYA.
Yeah.
He lives in New York. He's never been with the in crowd. He was born in Queens. He's got all these billionaires in New York that want to see Trump go away more than anything. They couldn't find anything. What you're going to find here, if they don't watch out, they're going to find that Donald Trump, the guy you're trying to paint as this corrupt, crooked individual who left the country with the lowest unemployment in the African-American community ever, the Hispanic community ever, inflation minuscule, highly the secure border, energy independence. You're going to have somebody come forth and say, with honesty, I mean, with credibility, I am the most vetted, transparent president or candidate that has ever run for office in the history of America. And if you don't think that's going to, now, is that enough to beat DeSantis? I don't know. But what your thoughts on this? You go out and you set a precedent with these documents, like you just said.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the documents. That was another thing they tried to catch him on. Now you got a guy who did the same thing, maybe worse, in terms of putting those documents in jeopardy with Hunter Biden's erratic behavior.
At least Billy Carter back in the days, the crazy brother,
Yeah.
stayed behind the scenes. He didn't take up residence with his with his brother. You know, you've made it an issue. You said this is important. You said it's extremely important. It's so important that you put national security at risk. So important, it should absolutely nullify President Trump from running for office again. You spread the documents out on the floor for everyone to see. Then your guy does the same thing. You've set the standard. You've said it's a big deal. And I think what you said, there's a lot of credibility to that. Is it really a big deal? Nowadays, what are you going to put on a document on a piece of paper? Who writes a letter anymore? It's going to be on some computer stacked away at Fort Knox or something, or back in the Pentagon. That's going to put somebody. You're going to print it. Hey, can you take down these classified and print them out at FedEx?
Well, what I said,
these are paper documents.
Well,
People ever think about that? That's like the covered wagon of security.
Yeah, no, Kate. Well, I think I said this on Friday. With all the technology we have, why doesn't the paper disintegrate within like 2 days? You know what I mean? If you're
These are good questions.
If you're gonna print it,
I'm gonna go Benzino. These are good questions.
Yeah.
Why is anybody asking them? They're good questions. Look it up. It's on paper.
Yeah.
These documents are on paper. What's the big?
Anyhow,
But it's a big deal because the media and this collusion to keep Trump from running for office made it a big deal. They weaved and put together their own noose. They put it around Trump's neck. Now they have to put it around Biden's neck, which brings me to the next subject.
Oh, no.
I think this was the biggest gift. They're making this a big deal because they, Democrats, the big corporate machinery, the woke left, academia, all the powers that be that are on that left, they've squeezed every bit of political blood out of the Biden turnip that they can, and it's time for old Joe to go. And he won't resign. They're going to make him. What's your thoughts?
You know,
or should we go for a break?
No. I was writing points down.
All right, you take it. I've been yapping.
Everyone has been hearing this for a while now. This is a way to get rid of Joe. My first point is this came as a shock, I think, to everybody because you don't have CNN, you don't have MSNBC, you don't have all the pundits going in as hard on Trump. Had they known, oh crud, our guy's even worse at this. So this is not an organized takedown because this came out as a pure shock to the Democrat Party and all the party leaders. Now, with that said, I think this is an insurance policy. I think the left is sitting back because you don't.
So you agree they want him out of there?
Yeah,
it's an insurance policy.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
They want Gavin Newsom or Kamala.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, go ahead. I just want to follow your premise.
I do, but I think the Democrats, unlike the conservatives, have more respect for a sitting president and hierarchy. So I think everyone right now is going to wait and see how this plays out. They know that this is really bad, but at the same time, they're going to say, well, listen, man, it's still Joe. He's still the president of the United States. He's the only guy that has a win against Trump. We might just be stuck with it. And here's the other thing, and I do a lot of projections. I think the left, either they think they're going to win no matter what in 2024, or they think they're going to lose no matter what in 2024. So why not just give it to old Joe? If he loses it, they're going to lose anyways. Or they're really in their mind, they know that they got the electoral system so locked down that they're going to win no matter what. But to think that this is an organized takedown of Joe Biden, I don't think so. That's my first point. My second point is, and this is to conservatives, I don't want conservatives to spike the football because Joe Biden, unlike Trump, is not going to be investigated to kingdom come. That just is not going to happen. You are not going to see the same level of investigation. The special counsel, even Devin Nunes started doubting this special counsel, saying, listen, man, this guy was a part of a cover-up when he was in Congress. So Joe Biden is never going to see the same type of hardcore investigation like Trump did. My next point is the Hunter Biden laptop. Were there no top secret documents on that laptop? Because I might give credit to Joe Biden here because we have the laptop, right? We know what was on that laptop. If these secret documents were really that important, they would have been all over that laptop. So I honestly think that Joe Biden. Yeah, I know you're. No, hold on, hold back. No, I think he did keep them secure next to his Corvette because if they were not secure, they would have shown up all over that laptop and they would be everywhere. My last point is, it's no big deal. These are documents. No, They're so old, I don't think it has any value. This does not help solve any problems. And I think the more that the mainstream media talks about it, I think that the more that the Republicans investigate it, we're going to lose sight of the American people. We're not going to be able to help our economy. We're not going to be able to bring American jobs. I think the whole document thing with Trump and Biden, I think is just, we're going down the wrong road, because in 2024, which is going to come up real quick, the American people are going to say, all right, what'd you do for me? Okay, yeah, you investigated Hunter, but what'd you do for the American people? I want to stay focused.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to fight fire with fire. You have to hold accountable hypocrisy at this level, of this magnitude. You can't control the media, Instagram, Meta, Twitter. Thank goodness for Elon Musk. Because people, you repeat something over and over, they get inculcated, as Larry Powell said. You start believing it, that it is something. They believe these documents are something because Trump put America in danger, the security of America in danger. That's been repeated 24/7 all over the media. People do believe that. That's like the negative ads.
Yeah.
That them there, they display it over and over and over again. So the whole thing about what's more important and what should we focus on, the truth or perception? The truth may be that there's nothing in those documents, but the perception of the people, many of them, is that it is important. There is something in there.
Yeah.
Why would, and again, another fly in the ointment that is inexplicable unless you subscribe to the theory that the Democrats are trying to get rid of Biden, his own lawyers going and look for these documents. And there's a lot of questions still to be answered about these documents. Like one, they were, do we have all the documents? They're still found some more today. FBI finds more docs in 13-hour search of Delaware home. That's a new batch.
Yeah.
They found. Why was it not disclosed when they found them on November 2nd, the midterms, November 6th, they knew it. How many documents are out there? What's in those documents? And how did those documents get in there? Who took them in there? Now, if you listen to the left, you hear Bill Maher, and they think you're just a conspiracy theorist. If you connect Hunter Biden at all with these classified documents, to me, you'd have to be a fool not to consider that possibility. This man was in the business of selling information, access to foreign countries, in particular China, one of our biggest adversaries, or if not the biggest, and Russia. Okay, if you haven't seen, we're kind of at war with them. And to think that here's a guy taking millions and millions and millions of dollars who lived at those homes, the Delaware home. Maybe Joe didn't even know. Hunter put those there. He's not going to keep. Hunter had access to everything. That is a big deal. How much was, pictured and emailed to folks? What's in those documents? Enough to make the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, say, we need to look further. He's seen them. He said, this is some serious stuff.
I think it's a cover-up.
Well, to cover, that's why it doesn't make any sense. To me, the only plausible reason for these type of actions is that the cabal of the Democratic Party, the media, and in particular the social media that's out there, and colluding to get rid of Biden. That they've had he's obvious. And another thing that makes me believe that is, if you've noticed, they are no longer hiding Joe in the basement.
No. Joe's doing full court press now.
And he's sticking his foot in his mouth every time he has a speech.
Yeah.
And, we have a situation where now even the Democrats are going, this open check in the Ukraine war that Biden's supporting, with his folks in there, Lloyd Austin and Milley saying, for as long as it takes, we'll keep writing checks.
Yeah.
What does victory look like, Zelensky? Well, when we totally defeat Russia, good luck with that. The tide's already turning, as I told you it would on this show, big time. You're not going to win a war of attrition with Russia. The Ukraine is not. Now they're talking escalation. Started out with some money. Remember, I don't need a ride. I need ammo.
Yeah.
Remember, they just need the ammo. That's all. Then we need guns and artillery. We sent it. Then we need an air defense system. Then we sent it. Then we need communication. Thanks to Elon Musk, you get them Starlinks. Now they need tanks. Leopard tanks from Germany and Abrams tanks from the United States. Escalation, escalation, escalation. The next thing, laugh if you want to, is we just got hit by a nuke, a battlefield nuke. So we need to hit battlefield nukes. They hit Kiev with one, and we need to hit Moscow with one. You say that won't happen, folks? What world are you living in? It is insane. 72-year-old men going out being mass shooters. Kids doing crazy stuff left and right. You have this president who's pledged his allegiance to Zelensky, and you have to ask this question. His son was on the board of Burisma. He had the prosecutor fired. Zelensky had to fire the prosecutor who was going after corruption on this company that his son Hunter was sitting on before he would give them the $1.5 billion that Ukraine was asking for, and Zelensky did it. I'm sorry, folks, you guys that tried to canonize Zelensky. I'm pulling for Ukraine, but he is corrupt.
At this point, I'm pulling for anybody that'll just get it over with. If that's Putin, if that's China, I want it done already.
That's my point. I think there's people in the Democratic Party, a growing number, that are saying, look, this man's out of control. Does anybody even know who his chief of staff? Do you know who Ron Klain is or was? Had you heard that name much?
No.
Ron Klain was Joe Biden's chief of staff. Every president's chief of staff, they're out there. They're talking to the public. This guy hid for 2.5 years and then 2 years, then resigned. He has nobody around him with any sense. Reagan had people around him with sense. Bush had some around him with sense. Even Obama had some people around him with sense. He knew you shouldn't get into endless wars and let it escalate into possible nuclear war. He knew better than to take on a Russia. The guy's 80 years old. Maybe he'd rather go out in nuclear war than see his son go to prison. I know. I'm a dad. I understand. But he may be at that point in his mind going, this Zelensky could expose me.
Yeah, he's in full protect Hunter mode.
Well, he's also, what else does Zelensky have on him? He's already got.
What else does everybody have on him? Period.
My point exactly.
So here,
and you think that wins? The Democrats got to put on. They're doing the same analysis as we're doing here. They're sitting in their war rooms. The Democrats going, what do we do with this guy?
But the alternative isn't any better.
Well,
so I think, isn't it sad that Joe Biden is probably their best?
I do think in order for Ukraine, I think you would have Kamala Harris, who would say, you know what, not complete blank checks. You would have Newsom. If Joe Biden left tomorrow, you would have Kamala Harris in line, and Kevin McCarthy would be second in line. Something, God forbid, happened to Kamala or Kamala. No, I don't mean that. I just don't know. One day to the next,
Kamala.
Well, Joe Biden pronounced it Kamala or something.
President Harris is what he calls her.
I just call her the border czar.
There you go. Well, see, let me go.
But my point is, this is an 80-year-old man who's clearly compromised. Who, and then I'll end with this, and I want to hear your feedback and let you know, because this is a very serious thing going on here. What they do with this man, and I can understand this full purpose to get him out. I really do. Here's an 80-year-old individual who, when he left office after being vice president, had no designs on running for president. He was going to get as rich as he possibly could in the remaining time God gave him on earth to take care of his crack-addicted son, who at that time he saw it was unfit to hold down a job. And don't ever mistake, actually who's run this country is Jill Biden. Joe Biden will do whatever Jill says. That's my gut feeling. No hidden secret recording of her saying that, but that is my fervent gut feeling. He's going to do, most old men do look to their wives to take care of them. But you got an 80-year-old guy who says, I'm going to do whatever. That's why this Penn Biden Center was built, so they could raise large sums of money They did 50-something million, $57 million. 45 million of it comes from communist China. You mean none of that went to Joe? If any of it went to Joe, he's compromised. You can't work for the Communist Party at any time and be president. I'm sorry. That's an unwritten rule. You can do so. You cannot work. You cannot cash a check sent to you by a communist party, whether it be in North Korea, Venezuela, China, any place else, and be allowed to run for president. Well, why ought it? Well, just think about it. Just think about it. That's like saying if you were on the payroll of El Chapo and you got a $10 million check signed by El Chapo or Pablo Escobar, and you decided you wanted to run for president. That would disqualify you. And that's what you're going to find. They're finding it's irrefutable. And and that's what they know. And now they're saying big doo-doo. We got what we want. We got us spending $6 trillion in spending. We've bankrupted the country. That's what we wanted. We're on the downswing as a major superpower militarily, economically. That's what the woke left wanted. They wanted to weaken America. Job done. Big box checked. Joe Biden, thank you. Now it's time for him to go because he's going to expose all of this corruption that was not just confined to Joe Biden, but the entire woke left movement from AOC who got in bed with big tech to go after Republicans. That's what this Twitter feed stuff's all about that's coming out. This coordinated effort with proof. And they got to say, we got to find as close as we can to somebody with a fresh start. And we got to do it quick because you know what? We may not only lose the presidency in 24, we could lose more in the House and we could very well lose the Senate.
That's if they were rational and
okay,
good
go
players.
Ahead. I know I've talked a lot.
No. You make a lot of good. We have a lot of people agreeing on Facebook with what you just said. So here's number one, and I've been saying this now for about a week. The Democrats and Republicans, they're like gangs. Okay, they're not like rational people. They're going to protect their own.
Their colors.
The shot caller is going to call the shots, and they're all going to fall in line. I don't think anyone's talked about it. This is why you're listening to us here, because we give you good analysis and insight. The best talk in town.
1550
There you go. Why are we here? Why is Joe Biden president of the United States? And that is because the Democrat establishment put him there. Because nobody else was a good candidate. Nobody else could defeat Trump. That's why they called this guy back up and said, hey, you got to go because we need you. Joe Biden, you're right, was going to just make tons of money for his kids. He was going to.
That's all he was thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. But somehow he got tricked and he got dragged into this thing. And I guarantee you the establishment and the left is like, oh, crap. We got this guy out of the grave and we made him come back to work and we've been pushing him and we've been running him. So I think the problem now is that this Democrat establishment, they're not going to go down. They're going to protect Joe using the media and using everybody. That's why deep down inside.
But they're not, Cameron.
But I think
the media's not covering like they did before.
But they're also not going full scorched earth Trump. Yeah,
go ahead. I interrupt you. Go ahead.
No. I don't think they will because at the end of the day, they're the ones calling the shots. They're the ones that are going to tell Joe, hey, Joe, we got a deal for you. I think this is all going to be a deal. It's going to be for Hunter and him because they dragged him out. And said,
you agree it will be a deal between the Democratic Party and Jill? Not Jill.
Yes.
It'll be Jill.
It'll probably be Jill and Hunter, to be honest with you.
Joe will do what Jill says.
And Hunter. I think Hunter is a part of these conversations more than people think.
Probably.
I mean, everyone thinks that kid is, somewhere on. No, this
Joe
kid
thinks
is
he's the smartest guy he's ever known.
Exactly. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if Hunter Biden were running the country at some point in time during this last couple of years, and that's really scary. So I think the left, because they drug him up, they're going to cut a deal if a deal is going to be cut. But don't forget that this establishment put him there, and this establishment will more than likely keep him there for however long he needs to do, or however many secrets he's got to cover, however many bodies they got to make sure are in the ground. I just don't trust the establishment. Here's the other thing. Accountability. You said, hey, Guillermo, don't you want to see some accountability out of this? And that's what we want the Republicans to do, right? We want to see some accountability.
Absolutely.
But what does accountability look like? Our guy didn't go to jail. Our guy didn't go to prison.
Just do what you say you're going to do. Say what you're going to do and do it. And take accountability when you do something wrong. Don't flaunt it when you do something right. Just be a leader.
But that's not going to happen. I don't think we're never going to see accountability. You're never going to see Hunter Biden behind bars. You're never going to see.
But you know what? Vince Lombardi had a great quote. He said, we should aspire for perfection. Although we know perfection is unattainable, along the way we may catch excellence. You go for accountability. You demand accountability. Yeah, we're not going to be total accountability. We're not going to get the perfect candidate, but we could get a lot better one we have now if we make honesty and transparency really sacred values that you better demonstrate before you even try to run for office.
But wait, it's politics now. You throw all that out the window. When you get to D.C., you're a changed person. D.C. politics changes you. It's about eat or get eaten. It's about fight or get beat up. I mean, that's the reality. That's why there's no moral compass over there. And then you look at these networks, and it's prime time. I mean, it's reality TV. Our politics has become reality TV.
With that 100%.
Everyone's a star, and it's like we're all in political gangs. And it goes back to my shot caller thing. Accountability will never happen, I don't think, to any politician. So if you're on the left, get mad at me, and I'm here to tell you, nothing's ever going to happen to Trump or the Trump family. And if you're on the right, I'm going to tell you, nothing's ever going to happen to the Biden family or the Clintons. Accountability is something that and I feel bad saying this, but accountability happened in the 90s and maybe early 2000s.
Well, I don't totally agree with you. I think there's isolated pockets of America that still because it's about the people have to hold you accountable, because that's going to happen when you go to Washington D.C. It does change it if you let it.
Yeah.
But you got to say, is the pleasure worth the pain? Do I go and enrich myself, go back on my word to the people in order to enrich myself, ingratiate myself, what have you? And is the pleasure worth the pain? And if there's no accountability back home with the people, yeah, the pleasure is worth the pain because I'm not going to feel much pain. But if you're, example, in Wyoming, you're Liz Cheney. This is the Cheney name in Wyoming. That's like God in Wyoming. You go there, you go completely against what your constituents want, you betray them, and they held her accountable. She loses
because
by the biggest margin of any candidate in the last 20 years that was an incumbent. That's holding you accountable. And when the districts that these folks represent start getting together, staying together, have a set of principles and say, look, we're putting our faith and trust in you. If you go there and you betray this, we're not going to give it to you twice. But can that happen can the people? I think there has to be more pain. I think you have to see probably inflation go more.
I hate to say it.
You to where you can barely, put food on your table. Then you're going to say, wait, who in the heck made this happen? What policies made this happen? So you got to work your way backwards from your bare table where there used to be some ribs. You got a can of pork and beans, and you got to work your way back going, how did this happen? Instead of driving a car, you're looking around for a used Yugo instead of your Chevrolet you had.
Yeah.
Your power bill's $1,800 a month, and you're going, what? And you start educating yourself. Why? Because you want to know the quote unquote root cause of this. And you see all of these insane policies, and you go to who espoused these insane policies? And they said, well, it was the Democratic Party, this woke left. And the reason I know that works, it happened in New York. New York under Dinkins and the other mayors before Giuliani, they wouldn't prosecute anybody. The economy was a shambles. They had destroyed tourism. Nobody came to New York. They were too scared to come to New York. The criminals just ran the entire city. They had the most murders of any big city. Giuliani came in, cracked down on crime, started cleaning up the city. Even the so-called his broken window theory of, that broken window, if you let a broken window stay broken and don't fix it, then there's going to be bigger crimes that happen. And he used that broken window theory on the subway jumpers. They used to let the subway jumpers, they jump the gate, subway, and get on the subway free. Where he started arresting these guys. They did stop and frisk. Hey, we know you're a member of a gang. We've got eyewitnesses. And you stop frisk. You're not carrying a gun. You're not a member of a gang. You're okay. They had stop and made good sense.
Yeah.
But then what happened is New York became one of the safest cities in America, bar none. They had the fewest murders per capita in the country, all during the Giuliani administration. So New York elected a Republican mayor, but the pain had to be so much. They had to be so scared. There's so lack of jobs, so many bodegos going under,
so many rats, like what's happening now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're a rat, there's no better place to live than New York.
No kidding.
I mean, both the humankind and the four-legged kind.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't think unfortunately, I think America's there. We feel the pain. We know it's bad. I mean, New York is probably
But
worse.
you're saying
worse
not enough.
But, here's the thing. Here's the biggest problem is we don't control, or the integrity in our electoral process is out the window. It is bad, but the Democrats with ballot harvesting, with mailing out ballots, unfortunately, we have lost that ability to win, to make sure that elections are fair. So this is why, and I'm,
Yeah, but
you got so I don't. It could get really, 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 really bad. But every 2 years, we don't win because the system has been intentionally designed to just ballot harvest the heck out of everything and to just make sure. So I'm not sure it'll ever get bad enough because every single year,
sure will.
every single year, they're figuring out a way. I mean, come on, California's king in that.
No, it happened in Depression. the policies, you know, they wouldn't change. They dug in deep. And that's why, you know, Roosevelt came into power.
Yeah.
You know, when it happened during the Carter years, you know, when the gas line, excuse me, I'm sorry, folks, do that in your ear. But you had gas lines, you had double-digit inflation, double-digit unemployment, military was weak, and the people said, we've had enough. So they looked to Reagan, and Reagan won the biggest landslide since Richard Nixon.
But the voting process was fair.
Well, no, there was so much pain. Yeah, well, no, but here's the thing. I blame the Republicans on this ballot. Don't blame Stacey Abrams. When you look out there and she sees this apartment complex, about 80% of them were junkie, you know, hooked on drugs that never go. You go into that apartment complex and you say, hey, fill this out. And because they're using the COVID thing, and we'll come to you and we'll give you a few bucks or whatever. It's a hardball game. That makes so much sense. Just go do it, Republicans. Have enough guts to go into that apartment complex, go into those nursing homes, go harvest. That's not going to go away. You should have done that to begin with. You're mad because Stacey Abrams outworked you and was smarter than you. You have your little, like the Central Committee here. You get your own little group here. Well, let's get out the vote. You do something. Let's get out the vote. That doesn't work anymore. You got to go out and work for those votes. And our position as conservative people would be, you know, you should know more about the issues before. I certainly believe that. I tell people don't show up if you don't know the issues. Don't just go in there and mark a box.
Yeah.
You'd rather you stay home. But I can curse the darkness or turn on the light. There are people out there harvesting millions and millions of votes in these inner cities in particular. And guess what? They count as much as that informed voter.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Well, that's wrong. We don't play that game. You better start playing that game.
No, I agree. We got to start playing the game. But
you know, if suddenly, you know, here, the game coming up, 49ers and the Eagles. The Eagles come out and they say, we're going to play with 13 people on defense and 13 players on offense and defense. And the league lets them do it. Okay? The rules committee lets them do it. And the Niners goes, well, that's not fair. We're going to stand on principle. We're going to only just play with our 11. Do you think they're going to win that game? No.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying you got to play the game. You got to ballot harvest right now. There should be Republican envoys and special ops going in to the middle of Detroit, in the middle of St. Louis, in the middle of New York, setting up their office, getting that conservative message of, hey, our policy is going to help you be the man. You won't have to always work for the man. You know, our policy is going to let your kids get educated, not flounder in failing schools, for the hope for a future for your kid and you is just washed away by inferior schools. They're just going to let you run wild on the streets of New York. They don't care. We care. You know, we're not going to close down charter schools in Washington, D.C., the most effective charter school that they had a lottery for kids to get in because it was working so well. For disadvantaged kids that were very mired deep in poverty, test scores through the roof because they were doing things right. What does Obama do, one of his first acts? Shut the charter school down. Why? Because of equity. Because that other kid doesn't get a chance. Your kid doesn't get a chance.
Yeah.
You know, you take that message
and you pound away at that message. You go in, and you don't just do it through social media. You go door to door. Have the courage. I mean, that's the only way we got something done in Fresno in our southern section. And I'm not touting my horn. It's just I had a little common sense. I knew people that they want to see you face to face. You believe this? You think it's right for me? Talk to me face to face and convince me. That's where I would be. So that's what I did. I went down to southeast Fresno, every time I could to a community group to take the message of why we had to end A Tale of Two Cities and why it all starts with public safety, that they needed to feel just as safe going to their little strip mall as anybody going to River Park.
So true.
And that resonated.
Yeah.
That's why you win by almost 70% of the vote, not because I'm a great actor, because anybody's seen me act know that ain't going to be the case. You know, and don't give me the vote because it's about my law enforcement experience.
Hey, did you ever?
But I understand what you're saying, Guillermo. I understand and believe more than I'm just this eternal optimist. Like I said, I earned a living for 30 years in Hollywood with this face. I've got to be an eternal optimist.
Let me ask you this: we haven't talked about this.
Yeah.
Did you ever use a prop gun?
Yes. Okay. That's God.
I know we got 0 time.
We've got to talk about. When are you going to be on the show again?
Whenever you want.
Come tomorrow.
I'll be here.
But we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because you sent me a text.
I did.
And I agree with part of it. I'm the cat out of the bag. Guillermo says, I don't blame the actor. It was the professionals that were on the set.
Yeah.
And I believe 70% of that, 60% of that. But the other 40% is with the actor. And tomorrow, I'll tell you why. It's part of the actors.
All right.
All right.
But I know an actor now, so I'm sticking up for the actors. Yeah, I
said, well, who are you talking about? Are you sticking up for Nicolas Cage? I'm not an actor. I played one on television.
Listen, I still have to watch. I still have to watch Tulsa King. I'm hearing great reviews. Stallone and
about my performance.
Yeah.
Well, if you blink, it was a pretty good scene. It was.
I've heard about it.
You've not seen it?
No, I've heard.
Well, what kind of friend are you?
You from around here? You want trouble?
Yeah. And then I pull out my Bubba. What's he doing, Sly? Yeah, nice to see you there, Bubba. Sly, well, how about pulling a few strings? Let me come on and show you, huh? We can go down to the bottoms to get all those bad guys. What you say? Yeah, let me talk to the producer. See what we can do.
You think you're going to go back?
No.
Okay. That's too quick.
I would already heard by now.
Really?
No, I think I'm one and done.
Maybe season 3. Season 3.
I should have. Yeah, maybe if that lasts. I don't know. I'm having fun here. It'd take a lot to pry me out of KXEX radio.
Sounds
looking
good.
At your face every day, talking about the issues that matter. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you so much. God bless you. God bless America. And just remember, do your best and let God do the rest. And I promise it'll turn out exactly the way it's supposed to. Love y'all. Bye-bye now. See you tomorrow.